Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with your daily dose of World of Warships Legends. We are playing the lower tiers today. We are in the, I guess that you say Giulio Cesare, right, or Cesare, right? So for this ship, right, but recently gotten ship, right, so I don't think I've ever done a video with this ship, because I think we got it, I don't know, did we get it? We might have gotten it on live stream, like around like the holiday event, right, where there was like the cyber vault chests or something, right, where I did buy a few of those, and so we had a couple of things drop, and I think this might have been one of those, right? So tier 4 premium Italian battleship. We've got it sort of rigged out just for AP shell damage and accuracy, like I do have a couple other of my Italian battleships. There are the nice occasional one where you can outfit them with secondary batteries, right? And I think this one's decent too, but at the lower tiers, it's usually not worth building into the secondaries, with maybe at a couple of exceptions out there. But we will press out on this flank here and move out while we are not spotted, right? So we're kind of broadside to the enemies here, which is kind of fine, right? It's lower tier. There's really only the one battleship out there, right? We shouldn't take too bad of a hit, but we'll pick on the cruiser out there who manages to... He was heading straight away from us and then made a hard left turn there, which if I'd have known he was going to do that, we would have waited for him to make that turn, right? But the Mysore out there now, he's going to slow down and be broadside to us. I'm reluctant to take another shot at him just based on his maneuvering. I think that is one of those ships that like you had to have gotten from like playing like all 4 or 5 years of Legends or something like that, right? So potentially a long-term player there in that ship. But we do manage to lead him correctly that time and almost take him out with, right, 24,000 damage out of that one salvo. Makes up for our straight up whiff before, right? And then this Leander here is looking like he's giving us up a pretty decent angle as well, right? It is lower tiers, right? So it's, potential there's not the maybe some newer-ish players in the lobby, right? But we will press forward as a last anyway. Dunkirk's coming in. We'll take a shot at him. Our cruiser got some good torpedo hits there. That's a little bit aggressive of a move for our cruiser to go up toe-to-toe with a battleship, right? Like if you're... especially if you don't finish him off, right? Because like he's low on health now too. But does manage to take him out. And then the Ranger gets spotted, so that is always nice and juicy and tempting to shoot their carrier this early on in the game. We did get put up against tier 5s in here, right? So we'll take the shot at him while he's spotted. I think our cruiser is probably the one picking him up. And we do get we get 8,000 damage. That's pretty decent. New York's nice and broadside to us too. That would be a decent shot. We'll focus on the carrier while he's spotted, though. I can't imagine our cruiser is going to last that much longer, and he's the one spotting this guy. Yep, there he goes. So I was nervous the Ranger was going to disappear there, but he doesn't. So somebody else must... I don't know if it's us. Somebody else must still be picking him up.
As it comes into sight.
But yeah, dispersion's a little to be desired there, as you can see. We are firing pretty close to our max range, though. And carrier is probably going to come and pick on us now that he took care of the cruiser. So we may have to deal with the torpedo and dive bomber airplanes here for a little bit. So we were backing up, so I'm going to go full forward and turn in. The chances of us being able to dodge these torpedoes are next to nothing here, but we'll try. Yeah, we're gonna basically... I would have been better off. He predicted we were going to move forward. I would have been better off just continuing to back up there. Alright, New York's going to push up towards us. So, kind of looking at the mini-map, we've got 3, possibly 4 ships kind of coming in this direction. So, originally I was like, alright, we could probably turn in and be more aggressive now, but then just looking at the mini-map, just the amount of enemy ships that are coming this direction, I chose to stay in this sort of, defensive, like moving away, kiting away position, right, where our ship is nice and angled, and so that they don't do, they can't do significant damage to us, right? They were just giving, not giving up straight up flat broadside to this New York or these cruisers, right? So we'll just keep picking on New York since he's kind of the easiest target for us right now. We've got the guns on that side. if we angle just enough, we can get those front turrets and the back turrets off on him, right? So it's kind of my thought process there. But some of these cruisers might actually be, I'm looking at the mini map, right? And some of these cruisers might actually be a better shot, right? So we can get maybe the Leander, right? He's nice and juicy broadside to us here. So maybe we use the back turrets to shoot at him, and then we could use the front turrets to go back towards the New York. But we are coming around this corner here. Yeah, we get a nice chunk on the Leander there. Mysore as well. Can we finish him off? I was about to say we just straight up whiffed the shot on the Mysore, right? But so we'll look to the right here, right. So we'll point our guns to the port side of the ship here, or the left side of the ship, and then we'll use the overview camera for a second there, right? So if you're not familiar with that, right, on the consoles, right, I think it's your left bumper. You hold it down, right, and that puts you into an overview camera, but it keeps your guns continuing to aim in whatever direction you were last looking at them in. So you'll see me occasionally go, if I'm especially in battleships, right, where I want to look one way, but I want my guns to turn the other way. So you can kind of cheese that overview camera like that, and that's kind of what I use it for. So Leander, we do know that the Leander has torpedoes. I think they might actually be 8-kilometer range, right? So those British cruisers have pretty decent range torpedoes. Because they're kind of on the, like, a down, their shortfall is they don't have HE shells, right? So then they've got to rely on torpedoes to do some of the damage sometimes. So I'm turning, I'm maneuvering specifically with the intent that he probably sent torpedoes in our direction. And so that, yeah, if we would have just kept sailing that direction, we could have potentially taken those on, right? We've either avoided that he either didn't have any to shoot or didn't shoot them, or we have avoided them so much so that we didn't even see them in the water here. So we'll move up towards this New York. Again, I kind of want to I'm keeping an eye on the minimap too. We've got the aircraft carrier over there. He's got planes coming over to us. And then since the New York wasn't giving us a lot of angle, we did switch to the high explosive shells, the HE shells, right, to try and trigger fires. But if he gives us a nice flat broadside shot, right, that's when we're going to switch back to AP. Carrier gets another torpedo drop on us with the flood, so we'll damage con the flood. Get rid of that. And then, yeah, New York's pretty much, almost sailing. He's angled appropriately, and he's kind of sailing just right towards us, right? So we'll keep firing HE at him. He did put out one fire already, so he might not be able to use damage con for a little bit here. So if we can get another fire on him, that would be big for us. But it required us to, in order to get those back turrets off, right, you could see we gave up some angle, right? So he got a nice broadside shot on us there. But we do trigger a fire probably because of the secondaries, right? But at least we got that going for us. So, and then now we're looking at looking at the map. We're up on ships. Our zone, right, it's capture the base. Our zone's not at risk of being captured, right? So you could potentially just YOLO rush this, right, like, and just ram into him, or, however you want to play it, right? But kind of thinking with AP shells here almost ready, we might be able to get away with kind of the drive-by here, so to speak, as people like to call it. I'm just mashing the trigger down to try and get shots off here, and there we go, we do. So we were able to get away with that one without having to trade ships, right? So now it's a hunt for the last cruiser, right? But yeah, we put up damage numbers up over 100,000 down here at tier 4 is pretty decent. So we'll take that action. We'll start heading towards their base and this where this cruiser was last spotted. A little bit of a guess that he might have just given up on life and just started sailing towards the edge of the map. Who knows? We'll find out. I'll find you. Yeah, it's kind of strange. It's strange that we wouldn't see him yet, but if he went the other direction, it all makes sense. Or if he just gave up or disconnected or whatever, right? So we'll push up and find him. It'll be quicker to, if we could find him, it would be quicker to kill the ship than sit there in the zone to get the zone cap. But we'll do what we got to do if he's just running away. We're not even spotted here too, so he could potentially just fire one of our turrets, right? Fire one gun and just see if we get detected, and then that way we would know he was within, at least within our firing guns range. I do see smoke screen out there now. Yep, so I'm gonna highlight that just because I saw the smoke. I think that he is still playing, right? So he dropped his smoke just so that the airplanes wouldn't spot him specifically, right? So he's trying to hide out over there. So we'll head directly towards it. Hopefully our carrier player, right, is smart enough to just drop some torpedoes through there and either, because even if you don't hit him, you have the potential to flush him out of the smoke, and then we would spot him and shoot him, right, and that would end the game, right? So, but it doesn't look like our carrier dropped any. Oh, nope, he did. He was apparently smarter than me. Oh, it might have been. It might have been one of those Italian cruisers that has like the rolling smoke. Oh, carrier did drop some torpedoes over there. I can see him now. Yeah, who was this that was left? Must have been an Italian cruiser that's got rolling smoke, so they can just drop the smoke and then they stay undetected while it's going. So we'll push up into the zone. Our other battleship player that's not in the zone, that's like kind of right in the middle of the map, we should be able to pick him up, and once that happens, right, once he spots him, he's going to be dead because we might be able to shoot him, and the other battleship definitely be able to shoot him, so he shouldn't last long. And then we will take a look at the leaderboard, and I'll take a quick peek at and show you how I've done like the commander build and all that other fun stuff that I typically do. All right, at minimum, we can help capture the zone. Although it looks like our battleship buddy here is he's given he doesn't have the patience for it either. He's leaving too. Yeah, we got, man, both of these battleships here on our team, very healthy battleships, have a lot of health left. All right, so he got spotted and we fired, but like I said, yeah, whoever spots him probably gonna have the better shot anyway. But yeah, I typically like kind of gripe at battleship players, which, and it happens to me too, but we do get top of the leaderboard with 2,500 XP, which is pretty decent for tier 4. But yeah, if you're a battleship player and you're full on health towards the end of the game, right, you kind of got to look at your health as a resource, right, and kind of use it and take some of those hits when you can. Obviously, don't just push into anybody, right, but yeah. So we are using the free-to-play commander Angelo Ichino, if I'm saying that right. I'm sure I'm not. Right, so this other thing is just an overlaid Geist, right, so... but I've kind of built into, if you don't have these commanders, right, this one you should have Autoceliax, he's a free-to-play guy. But yeah, just AP shell damage and range and accuracy are probably good. In fact, I would probably go accuracy for this ship specifically. But that's kind of what I've done with the whole, commander build here in loadout, right? You could go on second thought in this row for a little bit faster reload, but I chose the accuracy and then main battery range there. He does have this unique perk where it's, it extends the duration of repair party and stuff like that. So, and then this other one is kind of, this Testudo, right, is kind of a rare perk as well, and you'd get an extra repair party. So, like that combination might be a little bit better as a solo player than will to rebuild. But yeah, you do you. I don't know. I might switch to that. We might test it out one of these days, right? But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, like I said, for those battleship players that you've got a lot of health towards the end of the game, right? Kind of want to use your health as a resource. Take some hits away from your allies when and if you can. Obviously, not so much so that you die, right? Like you got to be a little bit conservative with that approach. But yeah. So yeah, please do subscribe to the channel. We do Legends videos every day, guys. So it's always nice to see repeat people commenting and joining live stream and stuff like that. So thank you, everybody. And then yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again.